RV channel. My name is Colin, and you may know me from the Grey Wolf bike channel. So I am a mountain biker, but generally speaking, an outdoor enthusiast as well, which is also why we have like the Grey Wolf ski channel, the Grey Wolf climb, the Grey Wolf backcountry, etc. Nevertheless, we're here today with the 2024 Winnebago 2108 FBS FLX, and this is a pretty special trailer because this happens to be my 2108 FBS FLX. In this video, we are going to be covering the 12 things. Yes, I know 10 is a bit more pithy, but 12 things that I love about this trailer. And there's going to be another video on the channel, 12 things I hate about this trailer. So first and foremost, I have no official affiliation with Winnebago, although that is something that I would love to explore in the future. Nevertheless, these are my honest opinions, and actually today's video in some ways is actually probably the easiest because as a consumer, first and foremost, these are essentially the 12 things that contributed, the top 12 things I should say, that contributed towards me moving forward with the purchase of this trailer over all other trailers on the market. So come on with me, and we're actually going to start at the back of the trailer and make our way forward and then inside to wrap up. All right, so you join me here at the back of the RV or trailer, whichever you prefer, and we're going to start off right down here. This is a 2-inch accessory receiver. Now, Winnebago did put a sticker here that says it is only rated to 300 pounds, so don't try to, tow trailers behind it or whatever. However, what it is great for is me as a mountain biker, I can come back here, I can put the bike rack that I use on my truck. So during transport, my bikes can be back here. Alternatively, if you had like a dirt bike or something, you might be able to get one of those dirt bike trays, or what else? Even like a accessory baggage, like those sort of metal racks. But this is a 2-inch factory equipped accessory receiver. And why this is important is because trailers are essentially proprietary. They're not like a universal fit product. So if your trailer was to come without one of these accessory receivers, which is quite frankly most common. In fact, I've talked about this in other videos before in the Mountain Biker's Perspective series, where a lot of the time manufacturers use smaller trailers synonymously with budget trailers, but that couldn't be further from the truth, because maybe this is a bit of a bonus point, but this is a 7-foot wide trailer, and I wanted that specifically so it can go up narrower roads as opposed to like an 8 or an 8.5 foot trailer. So it's also only about, well, as the name implies, essentially 21 feet plus tongue. So they might say, oh, this is a small trailer, why would anybody need this? But for me as a mountain biker, the ability to put on my bike rack back here, and then when I get to my destination, I can set up camp with the trailer, and then I could just take the bike rack out of the 2-inch receiver back here and put it in the 2-inch receiver on my truck and drive to the trailhead from there. So this to me is an amazing feature, not only for my personal use case scenario, but I think many others as well. So the fact that this had this, as mentioned, because trailers are kind of a proprietary product, you can't just walk into, an auto parts store or something like that and buy one off the shelf, because the way that it's going to bolt up to the frame, it's going to be frame dependent, etc., etc. So Winnebago putting this on from factory is amazing because it's a factory fit and finished product that you don't have to worry about getting like custom fabrication done after the fact, potentially voiding your warranty on your frame, etc. It's already here, and this is an opportunity, like I say, for where a lot of manufacturers might see an opportunity to save $1, but not on this trailer. So 2-inch accessory receiver, super valuable. Love to see it. All right, so making our way up forward on the trailer, we can see the second thing that I love about the Winnebago Micro Mini products. And that is that they don't have any sort of plastic like cladding or flashing that's going to hang down on the side of the trailer, because that plastic is just there for aesthetic purposes. But what it does is it inherently limits your ability to articulate and your ground clearance. So if you are going into areas that these Goodyear Wranglers are capable of going into, the last thing you're going to want is 10 inches of fairly thin non-structural plastic hanging down the side of your trailer, because as the vehicle articulates, or if it's going through any kind of dips or washouts or anything like that, that's going to be the first things that's just going to rip right off and become damaged. And especially on the back end of the trailer where it's articulating down, gosh, it's I wouldn't want to be in that situation. It would be cool to see like maybe some rock sliders or some way to kind of beef up this area, but yeah, no side cladding for good ground clearance and articulation. Great feature here. Now, we don't have to go far to see my next favorite feature about the Winnebago Micro Mini 2108 FBS and FLX version is the torsion suspension. And so what that means is that if you hit a road feature on the left tire, let's say you're driving down the road and you hit a pothole, the left wheel here will articulate and the one behind it will articulate, but it's not going to transfer forces over to the opposite side. Whereas if you had that traditional leaf spring suspension, as one wheel hits a bump, that axle that's suspended below the leaf pack is going to impact and twist and translate movement over to that other side. Where on a torsion, gosh darn it, they're so smooth. It's like it's not even back there. And I'm really looking forward to taking this into some off-road situations. However, something that we're going to check out in a future video is actually how much travel these torsion axles have. And I'm willing to bet it's a lot less than you think that it is. So stay tuned for that video. But torsion for the win in those off-road articulation and comfort categories. All right, moving on. So moving slightly forward on the trailer here, we can see the next feature that I absolutely love about this trailer, and that is the frame. Now, why would I be excited about a frame? Well, for a few reasons. First and foremost, you can see that the way that this frame is constructed, the tongue out here is in line or level with the longitudinal components, the actual sort of ladder frame of the frame assembly. Why is that important? Well, a lot of frame manufacturers, instead of it being in line, the tongue is bolted, or welded rather, from underneath, and that does two things. One, you lose ground clearance. So imagine this, I think it's a 2x6? Imagine this 2x6 is down here. Now, we're only dealing with ground clearance above this much, and that's awful for a trailer that comes factory equipped with Goodyear Wrangler tires. The second thing that it does is, if it's welded from underneath, you don't have to venture too far on the internet to see pictures where the weight of the trailer has actually caused a failure in that frame, where that weld fails and the frame sort of bends up and out of the way. But having it in line, they're able to pierce this plate here in the front and secure it to the main frame rail here, which is, gosh, I think this is a 3x10. It's a really beefy frame. And that preserves ground clearance, and it also eliminates that fulcrum point for failure on the frame. Moreover, this frame is manufactured by the company BAL. If you've been anywhere in the RV industry, this should be a familiar name for you. So right here, we can see these power jack stabilizer feet made by BAL. And you've also probably seen those X-Chalked that go between the wheels that sort of cut down on that rocking movement that you can get in trailers. Those are made by BAL as well. So far as I'm concerned, BAL is an amazing frame manufacturer. And one thing that Winnebago would be quick to point out is that this is a huck bolted frame as opposed to a welded frame. Now, as I've come to learn, other huck bolted frames include like your 5-ton and commercial transport trucks, as well as trains. So it is a technology or a way of manufacturing that is consistent with heavy duty applications as opposed to just welding. That's not to say that, welding is inherently bad. However, it is a proven manufacturing technology, and Winnebago will suggest that by doing it this way, you are reducing failures in welds. And myself, more specifically, my mom on her channel, Kathy Goes Camping, she actually had a failure where her suspension, leaf spring suspension, welds to the actual frame. So it is certainly possible for welds to fail, especially on RV trailer products like this, where there's a high degree of road vibration, you know, through their use. And maybe that's why we see it in trains and commercial transport truck applications, where they're very rigid suspensions that experience a high amount of vibration. So that'd be cool to talk to BAL. I would love to be able to maybe even do like a factory tour or something like that, because I think that that's a really cool technology I'd like to dive deeper into myself. But yeah, so the frame specifically for me, ground clearance and quality construction, BAL for the win. So I've come over here to the passenger side of the trailer, but we're going to talk about this, the BAL stabilizer feet. Now, many trailers use the BAL stabilizer feet because they are arguably the best in the industry. But Winnebago does something really cool. When I first saw the micro mini trailers, I noticed that there was two, and I thought, oh, that's kind of a, you know, an easy way to do it, because typically there's one button at the front for the front feet, and there's one button at the back for the back feet. So, oh, okay, they've just put it together so you don't have to walk back and forth. No. What they have done is they have separated or given independent controls for both feet. And you're like, okay, well, doesn't that seem like, you know, now I have to hold two buttons versus one? On a trailer that is off-road capable like this, it is reasonable to expect that you will end up in campsites or situations and environments where the ground is uneven. I mean, that's why we get a trailer like this, because it can do it. Well, if the ground is uneven as opposed to a perfectly manicured, you know, state or provincial or national park, wherever you are, then you're going to need to be able to stabilize that on uneven ground. Yes, you can live the plastic block life, but I've gone with rubber because, again, you know, if you're setting up on, you know, exposed Canadian shield or, you know, something like that, or a high rock or root or whatever type of environment, or maybe you're on the side of a mountain, you know, you can get the trailer level, but that doesn't mean that the two stabilizer feet coming down in unison are going to be able to stabilize your trailer without, you know, a lot of jiggering around. So what you can do here is, actually, let's show you this side. I can control them independently. So I'm retracting the driver's side and I'm extending the passenger side. I will admit maybe some labeling here might be helpful. I'll probably come in and do that after the fact, but shout out to Winnebago, maybe just throw some labels here. But this is so cool to see. I've never ever seen another trailer like this with, again, best in the industry in my opinion, stabilizing feet, but independently controlled. Thank you very much, Winnebago. Someone had their thinking cap on, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, making our way inside the trailer, we have the next thing that I love about this 2108 FBS FLX, and that is the fridge. Now, to the best of my understanding, we're going to see the exact same fridge on the FLX and the non-FLX version. Nevertheless, this is a GE. We all know that General Electric makes great quality products. But there's something that I realized just orienting myself with this trailer that I think really impacts. It's a small detail, but I think it's a really meaningful detail. And that's how this actual fridge operates. I mean, you know, again, I hope you can appreciate how important I feel about this, you know, especially comparing it to the other features that we've seen already. Now, the way that this fridge secures for transport is there's a little lever here with some rubber or plastic kind of grommets on the end of it. We can flip it over, and this is going to prevent the freezer and fridge door from opening. If, however, we open it, what we can do is just reach our hands in the little pockets and open the door. And hopefully, you're probably thinking, what's the big deal about this? The big deal is that so many RV fridges don't secure for travel in this way. They are instead reliant upon little plastic latches that you need to operate each and every time that you want to access the fridge or freezer. So you need to, sometimes they're on the side, sometimes they're on the top, but you need to kind of like put your fingers in and depress like that little plastic lever and depress it, you know, enough such that you can, you know, open the door and it doesn't, you know, maybe you're depressing it halfway and it catches or something like that, or maybe you totally forget and you just, you know, you're pulling at it and maybe it damages or breaks that locking mechanism, and now you have a non-functional fridge in that sense. This is an exceptionally low tech but effective way of securing the freezer and fridge for transport. But in the day-to-day, when you're at camp, you don't have to think about it. There's a great channel that reviews bags. I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment, I apologize, but he talks about friction points in the experience, and having that extra step that you just need to depress that handle can just add that extra little bit of friction in, you know, just doing something as simple as opening and closing your refrigerator door. So the fact that this doesn't have it, you can just live your life. Just come in, open, close the door, open, close the freezer. That's it. It's as simple as that. Ready to go on the road, done. Love this. So small, but so significant in terms of how it actually impacts your day-to-day usability of this trailer. So this refrigerator, as mentioned, is probably standard on both the FLX and the non-FLX versions because it is a 12-volt fridge freezer. But all the other electronics in the trailer, for the most part, with the exception of, you know, lighting, etc., and the many multitude of USB ports, those plugs, like your standard electric plugs, there's going to be one on the other side of the counter, in the bathroom, right down here behind me, up at the headboard, etc. There are a lot. Those are all 110 volt here in North America, and thus they require, or traditionally require, shore power. The reason being is that a lot of trailers in this category, they have some, you know, amount of storage battery. Usually they're owner or user selectable, which means they're not included in the trailer and you need to purchase one yourself at an additional cost above and beyond the trailer. But often is the case that you'll see in marketing literature, oh, it's got a 200 watt solar panel and, you know, a 1,000 watt inverter. Well, those inverters are often so small that, you know, manufacturers know that you're not going to get a lot of utility out of it. On the 2108 FBS FLX, the flex versions of this trailer, they come with a 3,000 watt inverter. And Winnebago has full confidence in that system that what they've done is they have allowed every single power outlet in, on, and outside of this trailer to be run through that 3,000 watt inverter. So that means that this 1,500 watt microwave can run on the inverter, which is crazy to think about. Again, for context, these other trailers, often there's only two plugs. Usually they're kind of in the kitchen, or there might be one in the kitchen, one in kind of like a dining area, where those, you know, let's say 1,000 or 1,500 watt inverters are hooked up to, because, you know, they can't run a blender, which is going to be 1,500 watts. On this Flex, you can run the air conditioner, you can run the microwave, you can do all sorts of things, all your daily living. And basically, you know, if we take a step back from, you know, what sounds like an infomercial at this point, it just means you can use your trailer. You can come in, you can plug something in or turn something on and just use it. You don't need to think, oh, am I hooked up to shore power, or maybe my inverter's not enough, or which plug is that? No, you can just use it. If you see it, you can use it. And gosh darn, that's such a good feeling, because it just speaks to the capability and utility of it. Like, something I'm personally looking forward to doing is being on side of a mountain or being out in the middle of the desert in this trailer and reheating a cup of coffee and not being able to see a single, you know, sign of human existence around me. Like, how incredible is that? It just blows my mind. So 3,000 watt inverter, and do your due diligence, because there are more expensive, more off-road capable trailers that don't even have this feature. I'm thinking of one in particular. I have not done a video on it yet, but that is a trailer that I think is doing some cool things, but is also a really good comparison to this one, as they fall in a very similar, price point, and they've chosen sort of different features to play to sort of different crowds. But I think this one does a much better job striking overall balance. But be sure to check out that video nonetheless to help educate yourself in your shopping experience. But yeah, 3,000 watt inverter, run your air conditioner, run your microwave, just use this trailer. Just live. What more could you ask for? All right, so having a big inverter is only one piece of the puzzle. The other piece is actually having that battery that I mentioned. And as mentioned, a lot of trailers in this category don't even include a battery and leave it up to you as the customer. So to give a sense of context, generally speaking, a 100 amp hour lithium ion battery is going to run you about $1,000. And what you're ideally going to want to do is ensure that that lithium ion battery is going to have a heating element built into it, because on a lot of these trailers, those batteries are pre-wired to be on the exterior up on the tongue. Usually there's like 2 pieces of angle iron, and you would just kind of install, 1, maybe 2 100 amp hour batteries up there if you're looking for kind of extended capability. So 200 amp hours in total, add another $2,000 Canadian prices on top of that. This trailer, the 2108 FBS FLX, the Flex trailer, comes standard with a Lithionics 320 amp hour battery. It's a lithium ion battery. It has an integrated heating element. They say it will allow you to charge the battery down to -20 Celsius, but what I believe it means is that it's capable of maintaining the internal battery temperature warm enough that it can receive a charge even if the ambient temperature is down to -20 Celsius. Nevertheless, that 320 amp hour battery is gargantuan in terms of capacity, but what's super cool is it's not gargantuan in terms of size. If you actually look at the specifications of that battery, its length, width, and height, I was considering actually buying the non-FLX version to save a few dollars and then come in after the fact and add, a big battery bank to it. But the FLX kind of already has that built in. So 320 amp hours. I think Winnebago says, they advertise about 5 days off grid. And I think that's pretty reasonable when you consider, the energy that would be required to, say, run your heater or run an air conditioner for a couple hours a day to help manage temperatures like that. So, oh, and also worth mentioning, definitely go and check out the Deep Dive series. I go into more details about the Lithionics battery. This is kind of more like a high level overview of the features. So on to the next one. So something I briefly discussed in the Mountain Biker's Perspective tour of the 2108 FBS, the non-Flex one, that was the video that I did in partnership with Arcan RV here in the Calgary area, is the way that Winnebago has provided you with unique yet dedicated storage options for this trailer. So we already know that this has that pass-through compartment, and that's going to be good for things that you would keep on the exterior of the trailers. When we come in the trailer, Winnebago has done a really good job of allowing you to have multiple different storage compartments for multiple different uses. So right here we have the side wardrobes, and this would be useful for your city clothes, your day-to-day clothes, that sort of thing. There is also a big shelf up top. There is a small, let's call it 1-inch lip on the inside of here, so you can get some of those storage cubes and you can pop up maybe some socks or bathing suits or kind of, the smaller items that might otherwise kind of get lost towards the front end of these side wardrobes because they are inherently quite deep. Like most trailers, this one is no exception. We have a underbed storage compartment. Also noting the dual shock absorbers. Yet again, this is often a spot where manufacturers can cut corners to try to save money by maybe giving you only one or none. And you could see how easy that was for me to actually lift up. The way that I envision using this space is to be able to take my big mountain biking duffel. If you're interested, shout out to the Grey Wolf Bike channel where I talked about the Thule round trip bike duffel. That will fit right in here. In fact, this is so spacious that it will fit one for myself, maybe one for a future partner. And there's enough room in here for multiple sets of full face helmets in bags. So that is how I envision using this compartment here. Moving over to the dinette, we can see there are two storage compartments underneath the actual bench seats. So again, in that video with Arcane RV, we discussed that you can just simply lift and remove the foam. There's a hole drilled in here and you can access these compartments from the top if you wish, or you can, position things that can be pulled out more easily from the side. Nevertheless, this is a great compartment if, say, you're looking at storing additional bedding, because this dinette will collapse down into a kind of a, I'd say this is about the size of a double. I'd actually have to come in and measure it, but this is that dream dinette where you just simply flip the lever, this whole table drops down, and then you just use the cushions to fill it in. Fairly standard practice, albeit this dinette is really super nice because it does not have the posts that often aren't very stable. This is a super stable and really nice table here. But point being is that we have more storage options under here. So, for myself, I can envision using this as more long-term storage, just given that it's not the most accessible. The end bit here is quite good with these access doors, but you could throw some extra pillows, some extra blankets. So if you have a guest come over, you have the ability to take care of them. Moving into the kitchen, we can see more storage of the sink storage up here. This would be good for groceries, or if you want to do shelves and organizers, maybe cups and bowls. Although I'm inclined to say maybe even cups and bowls would go in one of these drawers, but then where would you put your cutlery? There are two here. And this one's just a flip down with like a little bit of a storage thing for, dish mitts and whatnot. This is one of my favorite pieces of storage in this whole trailer. This is for pots. Oh man, how awesome is this? Now, of course, me coming from the rooftop tent tailgating world, all mine kind of nest together, so I actually have like a ton of extra space, so I might end up using this slightly differently than most people, but this is so big you could even put like a griddle for, weekend pancakes, that sort of thing. Actually, I forgot this one. This would be a really good garbage cupboard. I'm actually thinking about maybe getting one that slides in and out to make life a little bit easier. Moving back this way, we have kind of, I guess, the food pantry storage. It goes all the way in that way. So I think, little totes or bins might be the way you'd want to use that. And then last but not least, we have a little cupboard up here. It doesn't go in any further than this edge of the cupboard door opening, but that would be like a nice little sweets, treats, kind of desserty sort of, maybe keep your marshmallows up there. But the best storage is in the back here. All right, this is the bathroom. I'm not sure if you're gonna see this on camera, but there is storage down here beneath the sink. It goes the full depth as well. That's gonna be good for bathroom tissue, that sort of thing. We have the cabinet up here. This is, for toothpaste, toothbrush, that sort of thing. But these two cupboards are why I say this is the best, because this big cupboard has a hang rod and the bottom cupboard goes all the way back in. So this, from a mountain biker's perspective, is where I'm going to keep all of my dirty and smelly, clothes after I've gone out riding for the day. I might even put like a mat in here and I could throw my riding shoes in there, provided that they're not dirty. Maybe I just want to keep them warm and dry as opposed to leaving them outside. That's how I'm envisioning this space. And the reason it's such a big deal is because in so few trailers, you actually have such amount of separated storage for clothing. In fact, I could even use the bottom or half of the top or whatever as a whole like laundry basket area. You could put a whole laundry basket in there and just, dirty clothes, and this would be a really stinky one, and then just hang your, your riding kit out there, maybe keep your shoes elsewhere in the trailer. But how you choose to use this, if you are into water sports and maybe you have like a neoprene, a wetsuit, you could hang that in the shower to drip dry, but that neoprene inherently does sometimes have a neoprene smell. If you want to, for longer dry storage, you can keep it in here. That's a way of hanging it up so it doesn't get all folded and whatnot. It's just, the world's your oyster in terms of how you choose to envision this, but the fact that this trailer has this, essentially secondary wardrobe and full storage in the bottom, it's huge, literally and figuratively. And it's kind of crazy because I actually would have preferred or I thought I would have preferred going into this shopping experience a smaller bathroom. I thought, oh, you know, let's just keep it utilitarian. But the way that Winnebago has oriented this is the full width of the trailer from one wall all the way to the next into the shower. So the interior storage, particularly here for your dirty rotting clothes, the wardrobes adjacent to the bed for my day-to-day and city clothes, and then under bed storage for me. Yeah, really awesome. Moving back out into the main section of the trailer, the next thing that I absolutely love about this is its contemporary and light, modern, minimalist design. All throughout the trailer, the use of colors and small attention to details really speaks to me, using materials that have like a granted faux marble, but like a marble aesthetic. The gray color palette mixed next to like this light oak kind of wash. These cabinets, they're light, they're bright. Even over here in the kitchen, this like robin's egg blue, it's really contemporary. I've never seen a color like this on any other trailer, and it just looks so fresh, so modern, so clean. Use of stainless steel appliances, even small attention to detail. So often in trailers, you'll see there's like this header board and then there's these end caps. This is for the slides, but they'll often put these, you know, big, bulky, you know, with the multiple circle, just like, it's so 1996. And the handle pulls are nice and contemporary. And speaking with Winnebago, even the plank sizing, they increased the width of the planks to give you a sense of spaciousness, which is amazing, because I guess like if they were narrow, it might feel a bit too busy, whereas the wider plank style makes it feel big. And it does. This trailer feels huge for 21 feet. I absolutely love it. So the interior design choices that they've done, use of dark grays, light grays, robin's egg blue, marble, I think they've set the bar exceptionally high for themselves. And I'm actually, quite frankly, a bit nervous for where they would go from here into the future. So something you've probably picked up on already, but maybe I haven't necessarily said it specifically. One of my favorite things about this trailer is what I call a high efficiency floor plan. So we do have a front bed, we have the dinette, we have the kitchen, the bathroom in the back. It does come factory equipped with a small LED TV mounted just beside you. But put together, there's no real dead space in this trailer. And there's no, how to describe this, there's no crossing over of spaces. So I've seen in a lot of trailers and a lot of the floor plans where, you know, maybe there's a sofa seat and a TV, but it's mounted directly above the cooking space. So if I was in here cooking, you know, they've set that trailer up in such a way that you're trying to watch the TV, whereas, you know, here there's a perfect sight line to that TV right behind you. Similarly, if you come up in this area, this is a dedicated, you know, dining and sleeping area where there's very clear sight lines. The floor is all nice and open, which gives and is very spacious. We even have the drawstring here that will wrap around if somebody wants to take a rest and utilize the trailer in terms of like different zones. It makes really, really good use of the space in the trailer. So yeah, big thumbs up. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about it. So last but not least, my absolute favorite thing about this trailer is the build quality. Now, that's not to say that I haven't experienced a couple of issues already with this product, but it's brand new to me and I have not given Winnebago the opportunity yet to resolve those. So I will make an update in the future if that's even required, but I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt at this point in time, and that we will achieve an easy and good resolution. So with that said, overall, the fit, the finish, and the quality of the build on this trailer is arguably, I'd say, my number one favorite thing. I mean, the solar, the battery, the inverter, all of that's great, but if the trailer itself is built really poorly, then it's kind of, you know, like lipstick on a pig at that point. from the quality frame to, you know, the quality running gear to the quality manufacturing, you know, Asdel sideboards. This is not a stick and tin construction, to the quality use of, you know, the quality of the appliances used. These are the sorts of things that on a whole are really going to come into play from day one all the way through your ownership experience. So when you look at the overall package of Winnebago towables as a brand, I think that they sit in the highest category of build quality. Again, not to say that there isn't problems in a general sense or that I have experienced, but I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, every cupboard that I opened, you know, the hinges were nice and taut. Ever since Tesla vehicles have hit the market, you know, suddenly everyone is looking at panel gaps, and I can, you know, tell that every one of the panel doors are fixed, you know, and aligned appropriately. Even just the quality of the interior finishes, it's just, you know, Winnebago in my mind is synonymous with quality. So these may not be the cheapest trailers, but something I hope to really impress upon you. Maybe this is the, you know, the hill I'll die on, but small trailers don't have to be an opportunity for low quality. I mentioned earlier this is a 7-foot wide trailer, and I specifically wanted that knowing I'm going to be taking it up Forest Service roads that are quite narrow, and I wouldn't otherwise be able to bring up a wider trailer. And yet at the same time, I want to invest my money into something that's built really well, that's going to be able to handle that has all the features and accoutrement that would make these trips possible, and just in a smaller package that's consistent with my needs. So, and dare I say, I'm proud to be a Winnebago owner. I can see the packaging behind the camera right now, and yeah, I have a degree of pride having purchased a Winnebago product. So I think that's a good opportunity to end this video here. These were 13 things I love about my Winnebago 2108 FBS FLX. Thank you very much for watching. I sincerely do appreciate it. If you're interested in mountain biking content, head on over to the Grey Wolf Bike YouTube channel. In the meanwhile, you take care, and bye for now.